Hello, how are you? And welcome to Josiah is Right. So I was recently on an episode of the Most Extreme Ranking Challenge. I don't do it as well as them, but I was on an episode. So check out that video, although I'm not sure if this or that will come first. In that episode, we picked our top 5 movies of 2021, and they battled it out for cinematic supremacy. But we also picked our single #1 worst movie of that year. Or as panelist Albert put it, the most disappointing movie. One of the panelists, Anna, picked The Eternals as her worst or most disappointing movie. While I didn't love the movie, I do like it, and maybe more than most people. It doesn't seem beloved actually at all. This is true judging by the Eternals Marvel Legends figures left on shelves. I personally give my props to any movie that tries, and darn if Eternals doesn't really try. The Eternals as a comic, I admit, I know not that much about. So let's both get acquainted by visiting the comic book section of the bookstore and checking out those spinner racks. If you read Jack Kirby's New Gods, you realize Eternals creator, Jack Kirby, was into the idea that aliens secretly created humans, which really was popular at the time via such films as Chariots of the Gods and cults such as Scientology. As to the comic itself, billions of years ago, Celestials came to Earth and experimented on human beings, creating the Eternals and the Deviants. So the Eternals are basically just enhanced humans that fight the Deviants. But this is where the comic gets really crazy with mythology and science fiction. Having a great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmother or father is why someone like the Hulk can smash, meaning he's genetically predisposed for superpowers. Like my kids are genetically predisposed for adorableness. Again, I have to admit, this is a big gap in my Marvel knowledge, but this is where things get crazy and go all over the place. There are multiple Civil Wars, and yeah, I know I need to check it out, and maybe you do too. Maybe we'll do a comic book / graphic novel club and get caught up. Anyway, a few years before the Eternals, Kirby's time at DC did not go well, and he never had a chance to fulfill his most epic intergalactic story. Shortly after, he returned to Marvel, and unfortunately, that didn't go much better. And Kirby's second attempt at high-concept science fiction was really left incomplete. The characters were just used here, there, and kind of everywhere. And everywhere in Marvel is where I encountered them. But for me, they never felt central, although from a logic standpoint, they were absolutely central. Later, there was a mid-1980s revival that didn't really go anywhere, and a mid-2000s one that was really quite excellent. I read them here and there when I came across the Jack Kirby version as a kid, and I read the Gaiman Romita Jr. run thanks to a copy of that trade at my local library. But for me, it's just not Spider-Man. I know of it vaguely, and I know the characters, but I don't have any greater emotional attachment. And I don't have any ideas of what they should have done. And frankly, watching a Marvel movie without thousands of comic books and emotion attached to it was really rather freeing. I know enough about the comics to know the movie made some pretty darn bold choices. I personally found them interesting, but again, I'm not attached to the comics, so it was just a fun ride for me. I love Nomadland. It's a great movie and you should watch it. I'm also amazed at how Chloe Zhao made 2 seemingly disparate films, surprisingly connected to each other. Both films are about individuals against a vast landscape. In Nomadland, it's the modern American West. In Eternals, at times, it's actually the modern American West. In Nomadland, her van becomes a safe space, even when, to an outsider, it doesn't appear as such. Maybe in part, it's about finding the comfort in the uncomfortable, where maybe it's not comfortable and not even safe, but at least it's familiar. Fundamentally, both movies are about people. Maybe I should say individuals, as the Eternals specifically are not people, but they are trying to find some measure of control in their lives. Frances McDormand tries to control her life by taking to the road and living in her van, a place where she can seemingly control things. That's not the reality, but she feels that way, or at least protected in that environment. That illusion gets her through each day. Eternals shows that these super beings are still small beings in terms of the greater interplay of all that is beyond us. Be it the Goliath of our past, both personal and historical, or a giant space creature that knocked up Earth. What I did appreciate are the themes here. The idea of predestination versus free will. In a Marvel movie, that's pretty bold. It was also an answer to Zack Snyder's take on Justice League. Zack Snyder is less interested in people and more interested in setting, mood, and the like. With that, he takes the Justice League and makes them gods among men. Even Batman, the human character, isn't a normal human being, but a super rich guy, so essentially he's an oligarch. A person so rich that he's essentially better than the rest of us, like the owner of an NFL team. That is a joke for Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk, and he will never see it. In Justice League, small g gods save humanity. In Eternals, they do that, but it's really about them learning to live with a reality that first, everything they have believed for thousands of years is a lie. But more than that, it's about those small g gods learning to be humans. And really, how those two things are connected. The movie is by no means perfect, but it made Judy cry, so that means it hit in a real way emotionally. For me, the strength in the film comes in two places. The first being the aforementioned romance. This is where the last point I made really came home. The romance is the humanity of the film, and Kit Harington is just so damn charming. I'm so very happy Jon Snow is in the MCU. He and Gemma Chan have a real chemistry that I hope to see explored with some brown leather jackets in the future. And in some truly brilliant casting. His opposite, or however a love triangle works, whichever corner everyone's in. His other corner, she's here, he's there. Richard Madden's here. Having Robb Stark playing Zack Snyder's version of Superman in the MCU against Jon Snow in a kind of sort of love triangle is brilliant. The moment they meet on screen early in the film was spectacular and a bit emotional. That was the first time they've been on screen together since John went to join the Night's Watch, and so much happened since. For me, the romance worked, and it's the glue that held the film together. Well, the romance and family. To a degree, most Marvel movies on some level are about family. And the last handful have really been about family. It's been really smart with Shang-Chi and the Black Widow and the Eternals to be focused this way. You have lesser characters, or at least lesser known characters. And having these films centered on family is really smart to help people get to know these characters. The Eternals goes in the complex nature of family relationship. It grounds these super beings, and it's why, even if you don't love it, and maybe if you don't like it, hopefully you can at least respect it for trying. It's huge, it's cosmic, it's epic, it's eternal. Maybe at times it's a bit boring and it's overcrowded with characters you don't know, but for me, it landed because it's about people. But dang, I hope they fix the CGI for Pip the Troll in the future.